Hello and welcome back to Zelda 2. Let's see, I think today we're going to start by doing two things. One, we're going to collect 3 different pea bags down here in the eastern continent before heading up north to explore the rest of the continent. And as I'm walking around, I'm going to tell a little bit of the backstory provided for this game in the game manual. So let's start by coming down here and collecting these pea bags. So this is the first one in this location where this tree is, or a little forest square, whatever you want to call it. It's all the same to me. I'm going to collect 200 points there, and then continue off to the east here. Second thing we want to do, we want to try to avoid running into any of the monster squares here because we are unable currently to kill any of these creatures because there's a magic spell that we're going to collect in the next town that we do not have yet. Yet again, we're getting this stupid lag that I really, really hate, but we will persevere. So anyway, the backstory provided in the kind of booklet for the game when you purchase the actual disc or cassette or whatever you want to call it, starts off by kind of informing us that in the first game, as we were traveling around collecting the different segments of the Triforce, that was the Triforce of Wisdom, which of course we usually associate with Princess Zelda in all the future games. And then the Triforce that we collected from Ganon was the Triforce of Power. The kind of backstory for this game starts a little while after that, after we've saved things and rescued Princess Zelda with quickly, I'll just mention that little spider down there is the River Devil. We're going to deal with that in a little while. Oops, I don't want to. Whatever, it's fine. So a little while after that, Link develops this mark on the back of his hand, which is basically the mark of the land of Hyrule, which again is something that we see in pretty much all of the future Zelda games and marks him as the hero of time or whatever it is he's called in each individual game. He shows it to Impa, who is the nursemaid of the Princess Zelda we saved in Game 1, who then tells him a story. First, she brings him to a chamber in the castle, places his hand on the door, and it opens up to reveal a princess sleeping in this hidden chamber. I'm just going to mention quickly, this right here is a palace that we're going to be coming back to later. That is the Ocean Palace, for relatively obvious reasons. So yes, this chamber is opened, revealing this sleeping princess inside, and Impa then explains that this princess is also Princess Zelda. However, it is Princess Zelda from thousands of years ago, or hundreds of years ago. I don't know if it's specifically mentioned. And that person obviously is completely different from the Zelda that we saved in the first game. However, she is sleeping because a curse was placed on her by a wizard that I'll tell you about after we finish with the town. This is the town of Nabru. Nabru is the spirit sage, or whichever the last sage that we meet in Ocarina of Time, if I remember correctly. You must save our town. Yeah, everyone wants us to save our town. This gentleman here tells us, with boots I could walk on the water. That's not true of all boots. I'm pretty sure that's specific boots, but who knows? Maybe we'll get lucky. Alright, this lady is going to fill up our magic. How about that? Very good. Should fill us up. Alright, let's continue on. This woman. I am thirsty. Well, this begins the shortest and easiest of all quests in the Zelda series. Jump in a hole in the palace if you go. Alright, something to keep in mind later. I'll actually read this, I guess. Want to get some water? It doesn't actually have you say yes or no, you just do want to get water. We give it to her. She says, "You have water. Come to my house." And it's that simple. Several feet away was a well, and she just could not go there herself. So she takes us inside, and we meet the wise man of town, who tells us, "This magic will make your sword shoot fire." Very nice. Alright, so we now have the fire spell, and those enemies that we were seeing that kind of have a slightly metallic look to them are the enemies that we need the fire spell for. Now, in truth, I almost never use the fire spell. It's not something you have to use. Usually you can just kind of run by those enemies, frankly. This is the woman who heals us. We don't need to talk to her. And you do not need to get the fire spell in order to beat the game. See a man in Darunia before the islands. Alright, we'll make sure to do that. And this woman tells us something, I believe. The river devil, that's the spider that we saw, eats those who are weak. Alright, so we know the river devil might eat us, but we haven't learned anything about how to get past it. To deal with this guy, similar to the slime from several towns ago, you have to jump up and annoy him 4 times. So jump, ellipses, ellipses, and number 4. You are persistent. Find heart over the ocean. So, somewhere over the ocean, we'll have to explore, not sure how yet, but if we explore over the ocean, we should be able to apparently find a heart container. Maybe we can find some boots like that guy talked about that will allow us to walk on water. But with that, we've kind of finished with the southern, or maybe I'll describe it as the middle portion of the eastern continent for now. So we'll head back up through this cave. Maybe not back up, but for the first time we'll go through this cave. Kill some bats. I'll grab that quick. And I guess we'll get back into some of the story. So Impa shows us this sleeping girl, and we find out that however long ago, her father, the king, passed away, and when he did, he told her about the hidden location of the third Triforce, the Triforce of Courage. Of course, is the one that is generally associated with Link. It was sealed away in the Great Palace, and in order to access it, one had to place crystals in the 6, regular palaces, I guess you can describe them as. Very nice. So you would place crystals in the 6 palaces, and that would unlock the path to the Great Palace. Quickly, I'll just tell you why I was kind of slowing down there, and it's because there are kind of forced encounter screens in those 2 squares, and I prefer to have a regular encounter with the monsters rather than have to deal with the forced encounter. Let's talk to this lady quickly, make sure she has something to say. Please save our town. This lady's not going to say anything either. I cannot help you. Very good. What town is this? This is the mountain town of Darunia. Alright, so there's a few things that we're going to do here. Unfortunately, we are going to have to come here twice, and I'll explain why later. We didn't really have to come here twice, but I decided for story element reasons to do it this way. You must save Hyrule. Very nice. Okay, let's go inside here. So, you just have this table, empty room. You might think maybe there's going to be a mirror under here or something, just like in whatever town that was before, but no, there's nothing, just kind of empty room. This lady fills our health, we don't need that. This lady fills our magic, we can say hi to her. Alright, what else is going on here in Darunia? Let's talk to this guy. The palace has a false wall. Alright, so one of the palaces has a false wall. I don't think this lady tells us anything. Please save our town or Hyrule or whatever. And this lady tells us that we must save things. But she turned into one of the minions of Ganon. Now, it's not very obvious, but one thing that we actually have to do in town here is cast the jump spell and jump on these roofs all the way over to here. So we can get on this roof and slide down this chimney. Now, when the person told us to talk to the man in Darunia before going to the islands, I don't know if they were referring to this man or just the generic wise man in town. But we still want to talk to this warrior here. When you jump, press up to stab. Very nice. So we have now learned the up thrust ability. It's honestly not as useful as down thrust is, but it is something we are absolutely going to need moving forward to get through the rest of the game. And it does provide us some attack potential against certain enemies. That's right, he says the palace of the false wall. We're going to talk to him. Okay, let's continue moving forward. I think this is the house we want to go to, yes. So this old lady tells us, rescue the kidnapped child on the island. Not a lot of information there, but I guess enough to go on. A powerful knight lives in this town. So another clue to keep searching, looking for that knight, which is helpful because that's not the easiest location to find. The devil does not like noise, so we know we have to fear this river devil, and now we have a potential way to fight against it or scare it off, which is something that makes noise. We don't have anything at this point that makes noise, but we'll just kind of keep it in mind. Alright, so like I said, even technically have to come to Darunia twice. We could have gone immediately to rescue the kidnapped child and just come here, but I think it's a little more fun to do things in the proper order. So we're going to come and try to catch an encounter here so we don't accidentally fall in any holes and get some cheap deaths. Let's wait a second. And as we're waiting, we can kind of go back to our story. So the princess knew the location of the Triforce of Courage. Her father had told her, and her brother was trying to find out where it was, but she refused to tell him. This caused him to get upset and essentially get a wizard friend of his to cast a spell on her, which did two things. One, the spell kind of backfired for some reason and actually killed the wizard, apparently. But also it put that Princess Zelda into a deep, permanent sleep. Let's get a use of the upthrust here, our first use of it. One of the best uses, because any of those enemies that come down from the ceiling can be pretty annoying. So it put Zelda into this permanent sleep. Her brother felt terrible about this, apparently, and issued a decree that all princesses in the kingdom from then on would be named Zelda, which is why Zelda is the name of the princess in all of the games, and why the Zelda from the first game is different from the Zelda we are trying to rescue in this game, and the Zelda who is sleeping in the North Palace that we started in. Sure, let's grab that. Don't really need it, but it's fine. Alright, we also want to remember to stop down here and collect this extra life. Alright, so, yes, the prince made that decree and also locked Zelda away, the ancient Princess Zelda, in that secret room in the castle that we unlocked with Link's kind of new mark on his hand, indicating that he's the hero of time. We're going to start off in this maze over here, going all the way to the kind of staying south and going all the way east around to here. We're going to drop in a hole. And we're going to find a Lizalfos, our first Lizalfos, who's just kind of an upgraded version of the Dark Nuts that we've fought throughout. This is the kidnapped child. Alright, and we'll continue on. And so all of that kind of set off the actions of this game. So when Impa realized that Link is this hero of time or hero of ages who was destined to rescue Princess Zelda from her eternal sleep, she informed him about the Great Palace and gave him the 6 crystals that were needed to unlock the path that we've been depositing in all of these palaces as we've moved forward. And the kind of last, oops, thought he was going to jump. The last piece of history that was provided to us is that we were told that the minions of Ganon are out and about hunting for Link, because if they are able to kill Link and sprinkle his blood upon the ashes of Ganon, then Ganon will be resurrected, which is generally considered to be a bad thing, so we're trying to avoid it. We're gonna go north one more time, and yeah, we can just, you know what? We can do this one time. Actually, I don't want to. I want to do something a little different. And I think that is pretty much everything from the backstory. The only other piece is that in addition to the 6 crystals, there were some kind of writings included in what Impa provided to Link that no one would be able to read except for the future king, which Link was able to read. Now, as far as I know, there's no other point in time in the Zelda franchise when Link becomes king, but apparently that was part of the story for this game at least. So that pretty much wraps everything up, and we can now get back to our regularly scheduled programming. So we come back here, we'll heal up, restore our magic. Anytime I'm coming into town, I don't mind at all using the fairy spell to get past that second area, particularly since it has those bubbles that are just obnoxious to deal with and have a large percentage of the time that they cause you to get kind of that cheap death. Let's talk to the lady and return the child. You are a hero for saving my child. Come. And we will now go meet the wise man yet again. And this time, we're going to be provided with yet another new spell, which is this magic will strengthen a shield. This absolutely you need in order to beat the game. This is the reflect spell. And there are some enemies that you can use this on in the palace that you can't kill without it, but even more importantly, in this next palace, the Maze Palace, which is on the island that we were just visiting, the boss can only be defeated with this spell. So if you don't have it, you are SOL. Alright, let's continue on, and I don't want to deal with this one, so there we go. Alright, so we'll get past here, and then this one we can just walk down. That's fine. So we're going to go back over now to the Maze Palace and go through the maze. I'll show you kind of the ideal way through there. And we'll end things kind of as soon as we get to the palace, although there's still a little bit more to do out here before we get inside. Maybe not out here so much as over on the in the maze itself. Okay. Cool. So, to get through this maze with as few encounters as possible, there's just a lot of forced encounters scattered throughout. You want to always take the longest possible path. So we're going to come all the way around here, and then we're going to cut across this bridge here. Oh, not this one. There we go. This bridge, we're going to go down here and all the way around. And up here, we're going to have not quite an encounter, but it is a secret area where we're going to collect another magic potion, or mana potion, or mana container, whatever you want to call it. We'll head back up and around here. Since we are going into a castle where we're going to be able to refill our magic out front, when we go into this one encounter, this is the only one that you absolutely have to do. At least it's the one that you have to do if you're taking the shortest route. I'll show off the fire spell here. Oops, there we go. So we just kind of shoot fire, and we're able to, oh, cool, kill those enemies. Let's... I think this will work out. It's touch risky, but let's do it. Hopefully I don't burn myself. I guess we might as well do this and this. Wow. Apparently I don't remember how the keys in this game work. These guys are a little more annoying to kill with their jumping, but we'll do it just because. It's worth noting that these enemies give you a decent experience, so it's not a bad way to kind of bulk up, if you will, with some extra experience points if you want to kill some of those guys. We shouldn't need to by any means, but it is always an option. And then I think we want to go... No, sorry. We want to go down this way. So again, just always taking the longest way around. And that brings us into the palace. So I think we will just end things right here. And next time we come back, we will go through the maze palace. But till then, see ya.